All right, hello again, friends. Anthony Florio back with you here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Next video, we're going to talk about the release of the 2012-2013 NBA schedule, which was just released on Thursday. I'm going to tell you what games we should be looking forward to come the start of the new NBA season. So, first things first. It all kicks off on October the 30th of this year. On October the 30th, it's a big game, the very first game of the season, in which the Boston Celtics will go up against the NBA champion Miami Heat. Obviously, on this night, it will be the Miami Heat's first. Obviously, they're going to raise the banner into the rafters of American Airlines Arena, and LeBron and the whole team will receive their championship rings, and they will have a rematch against the Boston Celtics in a rematch of a very, very good Eastern Conference Finals series that, as we all know, went 7 games and was won by the Miami Heat. Came back from 3 games to 2 down to beat the Boston Celtics. Celtics, as we all know, they were 1 win away from winning that series and going back to the NBA Finals for the 3rd time in 5 years, but LeBron James didn't have any of that. As we all know, Game 6 at TD Garden had that 45-point performance. He pretty much beat the Celtics by himself that night. And then, of course, Game 7 went very competitive until the final minutes when Miami pulled away and eventually won that game. And then, of course, went on to defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Finals in 5 games, which we'll get to shortly because that's another game we need to watch for on the schedule. So, yeah, so Celtics and the Heat kick it off as well. So, and then at 10:30, that game's going to be on TNT. And then at 10:30 on TNT, there's going to be a second game in which Steve Nash will debut with the Los Angeles Lakers when they welcome one of his 2 former teams, the previous NBA champions, the 2011 NBA champions, the Dallas Mavericks. So the Mavericks against the Lakers at Staples Center, also on October the 30th. That's part of a TNT doubleheader to go with the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat as well. So, ought to be very interesting to watch. Christmas Day. Christmas Day is a very special day when it comes to the NBA. So many exciting games to look forward to. I was talking about this with my colleague Derek Ferreira, and I also talked about this with Michael Bullock. We had a little behind-the-scenes chat about an hour or so ago, and we actually talked about the Christmas Day schedule for the NBA this year, and 5 games are on the docket for that day, and all are pretty special. The festivities will begin at 12 o'clock noon, high noon, on ESPN, where the Boston Celtics will go up against the new Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn at that new arena up in Brooklyn. So, should be a great, great game because the Celtics, we all know how good this team is, and the Brooklyn Nets with the big moves they made, obviously with the re-signing of Darren Williams and the addition of Joe Johnson as well. And, of course, you never know. There is still a slight chance they could get Dwight Howard, but I'm not going to get into that because I'm tired of that story, so I'm just going to move on with that. Move on to ABC, where at 3 o'clock, this is going to be a very good matchup here. Carmelo Anthony and the New York Knicks going into Staples to take on Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, and the Los Angeles Lakers. That game will be at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. The Knicks and the Lakers. That should be a fun game to watch indeed. But the big game, this is the big boy game of the day. The rematch of the NBA Finals, where Kevin Durant leads his Oklahoma City Thunder against LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and the Miami Heat at American Airlines Arena in Miami, 5:30 Eastern Time. That's going to be the game of the day right there, my friends. I'll tell you that right now. You thought, even though that final series went 5 games, some of those games did go down to the wire. I expect this game to go down to the wire. It's going to come down to the very end. It's going to be a phenomenal game, and I wouldn't be surprised if both teams go into the triple digits. That's how high scoring and fun this game's going to be. So check that game out. And then prime time, 8 o'clock, Jeremy Lin and the Houston Rockets will head up to the United Center to take on the, I'm going to assume, Derrick Rose-less Chicago Bulls. That's at 8 o'clock on ESPN. Should be an interesting game there. Chicago, we all know Derrick Rose with that severe injury that he suffered in Game 1 of the playoff series against Philadelphia, which pretty much changed the complexion of the NBA playoffs, as we all know. Had Rose not gotten hurt, who knows? We probably would have been talking about the Chicago Bulls, perhaps, as NBA champions. You never know. But story for another day. And then the final game of the night, it will be the Denver Nuggets going up against Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and the Los Angeles Clippers. That will be at 10:30 Eastern Time. So definitely check out all 5 of those games on Christmas. Those are all going to be fun to watch. And we also, I mean, when I had my behind the scenes chat with Derek Ferreira and Michael Bullock a little while ago, when we talked about the Christmas Day, Derek made an interesting statement that I want to share with you all. He says that the NBA on Christmas Day is a lot like the NFL on Thanksgiving. And hey, I can't say I don't agree with him on that. I can definitely agree with him on that. Definitely, it's going to be very fun to watch those games. No question about that. Thanksgiving Day football is a lot of fun to watch, but Christmas Day basketball, I mean, that's just as fun as well. So definitely looking forward to all those aforementioned games I just mentioned. Martin Luther King Day. Um, it'll be at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, where the Indiana Pacers will go up against the Memphis Grizzlies. Should be an interesting game there because Indiana and Memphis, 2 very good young teams. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Also, later on, the Atlanta Hawks will welcome in the Minnesota Timberwolves at 2 o'clock on the NBA League Pass. And then at 3:30 on NBA TV, it'll be the final regular season meeting in Madison Square Garden with the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. And then on TNT, they'll have a doubleheader in prime time. The Philadelphia 76ers welcoming the San Antonio Spurs. That should be a very good game. And then the final game of that night, it'll be the Los Angeles Lakers going up against the Chicago Bulls at 9:30. So that'll be very interesting to see that. Of course, on January the 27th, I believe that's the date of that, and I think it's going to be on ABC, Ray Allen returns to Boston as a member of the Miami Heat when he goes up against the Boston Celtics at the TD Garden. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of reception he gets. As we all know, Ray Allen signing that deal with the Miami Heat, leaving Boston, angered a lot of the fans, especially the first lady of Strictly Sports, Kaiser Butler. You remember when we talked about that story some time ago? She went on a big-time rant about that. I can't say I blame her, being the big Celtic mark that she is. And, of course, Michael Bullock, he was pretty upset about it. I think Derek was upset about it as well. But Fletch and I mean, didn't really bother us. So, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I mean, obviously he wanted to do what was best for him, so that's why he went to Miami. So January 27th, keep an eye out for that. And then the final day of the season, April 17th. It's going to be a loaded final day. Some of the games that will be going on: the Atlanta Hawks against the New York Knicks on NBA League Pass could have some major implications on the Eastern Conference standings, the final standings, as they jockey for playoff positioning, as we all know. ESPN will have a doubleheader: Utah Jazz against the Memphis Grizzlies, along with the final game of the season, the Golden State Warriors against the Portland Trailblazers. So definitely some of the major highlights. I mean, I can't really go over every single highlight of the NBA schedule, but those are the ones that, really pop out to me when it comes to the NBA schedule. But when it comes to it, opening night and Christmas Day, those are the games I'm really most looking forward to. Of course, Ray Allen's return to Boston, January 27th, I believe, is the date for that. And then, of course, the final day of the season as they jockey for positioning in the playoffs as well. So, yeah. So, I'd like to know what are your thoughts? What do you guys think of the upcoming NBA schedule? You can comment below here on this page, or you can also comment on my Facebook page, because I'm going to upload this video to the Facebook page, to my Facebook page as well. And you can also comment on Twitter, because I'm going to post this video on Twitter as well for you to check out, for our few Twitter followers out there. Yeah, we want to know, what games are you most looking forward to in the 2012-2013 NBA season? So we would really love to get your thoughts on that. So that will do it for this video. Almost done. We got a couple more videos to go. When we come back, I'm going to give you my thoughts on some news and views bits in the world of Major League Baseball. A couple of moves that concern my team, the New York Yankees, and a big signing, a big re-signing, I should say, for the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll get into that. That's the next video, and then after that, I will have my Major League Baseball power rankings in the main event, and then, of course, my shout-outs as well. So, a couple more videos to go, and then we'll wrap it up on this early Saturday morning on the East Coast. So, yeah, so that does it for now. I'll see you all in a little bit. So until then, this is Anthony Floro saying you're watching The Tone 25 here on YouTube.com. See you in a bit.